My name is Misaki, and I'm a working housewife living with my kind husband, Daiki. I really enjoy every day with Daiki. However, I actually have a problem.
Oh, hello there. You haven't finished cleaning yet. Isn't it about time for dinner? What have you been doing?
Mother-in-law. I just got back from work. I'll take care of it before dinner.
If you have a job, shouldn't you have done the cleaning before you left the house? Are you planning to cook in a dusty house by cleaning just before dinner?
I'll make sure to open the windows and ventilate properly.
Don't make excuses. Make sure everything is done before Daiki gets home. Oh, and what about children? Don't you have any yet?
Children. Not yet. Both Daiki and I are busy with work.
Haven't you heard of 3 years childless? I really don't care if my daughter-in-law is you or someone else. Daiki would surely feel the same.
How can you say that? Daiki would never say something like that.
Stop interfering. Just get on with your tasks efficiently.
My mother-in-law always finds something to complain about in everything I do. Today, she suddenly came to the house where Daiki and I live, and as soon as she entered, she started nagging. And about children, she bluntly speaks her mind without considering our circumstances as a couple. However, this didn't just start recently. It was the same since the beginning of our marriage.
It's such a shame that Daiki's wife is a woman with no special qualities.
Mother-in-law, did you really think of me that way?
Hey, Mom, what are you saying to Misaki?
That's right. Isn't that rude? Apologize right now.
What's rude about it? She's clueless, bad at cleaning, laundry, cooking. She's terrible at all household chores. She needs to take care of Daiki from now on. And with these skills, I pity my son.
Pity. That's not for you to decide, Mom.
I wanted to find a good wife for Daiki. I was careful to keep the weird bugs away. I even arranged matchmaking and looked for job opportunities, all for nothing.
Enough already. Didn't I tell you that arranging matchmakings and looking for job opportunities without asking me is annoying? I can find a place to work and a woman to be my wife by myself. Misaki is the best woman for me.
Daiki.
Yes, Daiki is right. What are you even saying? That's rude. Misaki, I'm sorry for our family's behavior. It's truly regrettable. You don't have to force yourself to come to our house. If we want to meet, we can meet outside.
When I think back to the initial days of our marriage and my visits to my in-laws' house, it still pains my heart. Daiki, being the youngest and the only boy, was excessively doted on by his mother. Daiki himself seemed annoyed by his mother's overprotective behavior. My father-in-law and Daiki stood up for me when my mother-in-law hurled heartless words at me. One day, there was a memorial service for one of Daiki's relatives.
Well, I'm off. Please take care of the house while I'm gone, Misaki.
I'm sorry, Daiki. I really should be going too.
No, don't worry about it. I'm more concerned about you if you came along. I don't know what terrible things my mom might say to you in front of the relatives. It's a rare day off, so do something you enjoy and relax.
Daiki. Okay, thank you. I'll be waiting for you to come back.
Yeah, I'll bring you something back.
Daiki often went alone to family gatherings to protect me from his mother's harsh comments. Each time, I felt guilty and apologized, but he always reassured me with kind words. I was very grateful to Daiki for his support. One day, Daiki had to leave for a month-long business trip overseas. While I was feeling lonely at home, I received a phone call from my mother-in-law.
Hello Misaki, you're a bit slow to answer the phone, can't you?
Sorry. I was vacuuming and didn't notice the phone.
Really? What would you have done if this had been an important call for Daiki?
I'll be more careful next time.
Well, all right. I have a job for you as a daughter-in-law. There's a family gathering this month, so come and help prepare.
I was informed that this gathering overlaps with Daiki's business trip, so we've communicated our absence.
Oh dear. As a daughter-in-law, you should at least come by yourself to help out. You need to uphold Daiki's reputation, don't you understand that? Do you even understand your position? Don't make me state the obvious.
But on that day.
What now? Are you planning to defy me again?
I'm sorry. I cannot attend that day. Excuse me. Terrified by my mother-in-law's furious demeanor, I hung up the phone as if fleeing. After that, I received daily calls from her demanding help, which exhausted me both physically and mentally. Amidst this, a few days later, I got a call from my sister saying our mother had been taken to the hospital due to an accident. I rushed to the hospital, but it was too late. My mother had already passed away. With no time to grieve, I had to organize her funeral as the chief mourner. Mom, I never got to do enough for you. It's all too sudden. 55 is just too young. I wanted to show you your grandchild. A phone call? It's my mother-in-law. What is she going to say this time? I'm scared to answer, but, hello?
What, Misaki? Where are you? I told you to come help with the family gathering today.
Actually, mother-in-law.
Don't give me excuses. Just come and help right now.
No, actually. I'm in the middle of my mother's funeral. So, I can't come over there.
What? A funeral? Listen, that doesn't matter. Your mother-in-law, am telling you to come. Didn't I tell you to consider your position as a daughter-in-law and uphold Daiki's dignity? I can't believe I have to spell this out. You're really not a good daughter-in-law.
But, I am the chief mourner at my mother's funeral, so I cannot leave this place right now. It's impossible for me to come today. I'm sorry, but...
Stop being ridiculous. Don't you have any sense of duty as my daughter-in-law? Whatever happens in your parents' home, my needs should take priority.
That's too much.
Everyone deals with the death of a parent eventually. Stop acting like you're the tragic heroine.
I didn't mean to.
Listen, using a funeral as an excuse not to come to the gathering doesn't cut it. Got it? You don't have a choice. Just come over here quickly.
My mother-in-law hung up after yelling at me over the phone. I was so shocked and hurt by her harsh words that I couldn't stop crying. However, thinking of my mother who passed away too soon, and my kind husband Daiki and father-in-law, my tears eventually stopped. My sadness and shock gradually turned into anger. After explaining the situation to my sister who was at the funeral, I went to my in-laws' house.
Misaki, you finally arrived. You're late.
The funeral home was far from here, so it took me a while to get here.
What's with that gloomy outfit? Hurry up and change into something decent.
I came here in a rush. I didn't have time to change.
You always have an excuse, Misaki. Do you treat Daiki the same way? It's pitiful to think that my dear Daiki is being treated poorly by such a wife.
Anyway, I rushed over so I don't have a change of clothes. I will help in this outfit.
Oh no. A daughter-in-law who can't even listen to her mother-in-law is outrageous. If you say you'll help, then get started right away.
Understood.
Just like your clothes, you have a gloomy face. Come on, don't just stand there. Come here. The food for everyone is still not ready.
As soon as I arrived at my in-laws' house in my current attire, my mother-in-law started berating me. I had come in anger, but once I faced her, I was speechless. Without regard for my fear, she dragged me into the kitchen. Mom, I'm sorry for being so timid. As I apologized silently in my mind, feeling helpless, I followed my mother-in-law, and then...
Though, isn't that Misaki by any chance?
What, Misaki?
Yes, it is. It's definitely Misaki. Oh, why are you here?
Wasn't today supposed to be your mother's funeral?
How do you know about that? Are you acquaintances of my mother?
Yes, actually, we were helped by your mother through work.
That's right. We couldn't attend the funeral because it coincided with today's family gathering.
We were talking about going to deliver a condolence gift after this gathering ends, right, Tachibana?
Yes. We really wanted to express our condolences.
I see. It's comforting to know that there are people who cared about my mother. Thank you. The ones who approached me in the hallway leading to the kitchen were Wada and Tachibana, my mother's colleagues. As I was marveling at such a coincidence, the conversation continued.
Anyway, I thought the funeral was supposed to be happening right now. Misaki, you're supposed to be the chief mourner. What are you doing here?
That's right. These family gatherings happen regularly. You don't need to worry about this one. You should go back to your mother's side quickly.
I would like to, but actually...
What's the matter? Is there a reason you absolutely had to come here?
Misaki, why are you dawdling? Oh, what are you two doing here?
Why is Misaki here? What's going on?
Well, that's because, you see, Misaki insisted on coming, right?
Insisted. Even if that were the case, a mother-in-law should gently refuse.
That's true. Her mother is more important. You should have told her to go to her.
Well, I did think so too, but Misaki kept insisting.
Wada-san, Tachibana-san. Perhaps feeling cornered by Wada and Tachibana's reasonable remarks, the mother-in-law was at a loss for words. I was overwhelmed by their kindness. Then, another voice of surprise came from the back of the room.
What? Misaki, what about your mother's funeral? It should be happening right now.
Father-in-law, that's what I was.
Don't tell me it was mother's doing. It's outrageous to summon her during such an important funeral.
It's not like that, Father. There's a reason.
A reason? What could possibly take precedence over the funeral of one's own parent?
Misaki, are you here, Misaki?
Daiki, what happened? Wasn't it a business trip?
What happened? How could I stay away when my wife's mother passed away? I explained the situation to the company, and they let me return home early. I didn't have time, so I went straight from the airport to the funeral home, but Misaki wasn't there.
Daiki, thank you.
No need for thanks, but why are you here? I was shocked when your sister told me at the funeral home that you were here. I came to pick you up. Let's go back to your mother's place, Misaki.
Daiki came rushing to me and stood between me and his mother, shielding me. From the back of the room, my father-in-law also confronted her. Wada and Tachibana, who initially spoke up, looked on skeptically at my mother-in-law. But, mother-in-law, you said a daughter-in-law should prioritize her husband's family over her own home. Even Daiki feels sorry that his wife has to endure this. Right, mother-in-law?
Well,
You said that, didn't you, mother-in-law? About not having children for 3 years and always telling me that the problem lies with me.
Mom, did you really say such things to Misaki?
no, Daiki. I was thinking of your well-being.
For my sake, you summoned her here today, over her own mother's funeral, for the sake of a relative's gathering at her husband's home? Is that supposed to be for my benefit?
Don't be so angry, Daiki. It's too much that a wife doesn't even show her face. A wife should prioritize her husband's family. Even Daiki would be troubled if his wife didn't show up at such an important family event.
It depends on the situation. Summoning her during such a critical time is beyond unreasonable. I've tolerated it till now, but I've reached my limit. I'm cutting ties, mother. It's disownment.
How can you say disownment? That's too much.
Too much. I've reached my limit with how you treat Misaki. How many times have I told you, and yet you didn't stop being harsh to her?
That's because Misaki isn't competent enough.
Hey, enough is enough. I don't blame Daiki for being angry. I agree with him.
What are you saying? Whose side are you on?
Side, there's no question of sides. Your actions are beyond a pale. It's no wonder Daiki is talking about disownment.
Why are you all attacking me? Misaki hasn't done anything either. She barely even shows up at family gatherings. She could at least attend properly once.
Once? There's no need to force her at such a crucial time. Anyone would understand. It's her last goodbye with her mother.
Knowing you, you probably said that your husband's family should take priority over her own family's situation.
Of course, a wife should support her husband. What's wrong with valuing that more than her own family?
Daiki and my father-in-law joined forces to counter her. Not only that, Wada and Tachibana, who had been watching the situation, also helped. My mother-in-law, her face red with anger, kept rebutting, but Daiki and the others were unshaken. Standing protectively in front of me, Daiki said,
Enough, we will never show our faces here again. Let's go, Misaki. Your mother-in-law is waiting.
Yes, thank you, father-in-law, Wada-san, and Tachibana-san.
Wait, who said you could just end this discussion?
Will you just be quiet?
Quiet. You're not taking Daiki with you. If anyone is going, Misaki should go alone.
Misaki and I are a couple. It's obvious we would go together. Goodbye, Mom.
Daiki.
You should think about your own behavior. I've had enough too. I'll get a divorce. Start packing your things. Daiki, Misaki, I'll handle things here. You two go now.
Thank you, Dad. I won't see Mom again. And this house belongs to Dad. If there's a divorce, please leave quickly.
Mother-in-law. Father-in-law and Daiki have said so. And isn't it a wife's role to support her husband's decisions? Then, to not trouble father-in-law further, I should follow what he says.
Misaki, what are you saying?
But isn't this what you taught me? So, this is goodbye then. Farewell.
Why is it only me who has to endure this?
As we left the house, I could still hear my mother-in-law's cries from the hallway. On our way back to the funeral home, Daiki kept apologizing to me. The sorrow from enduring her harsh words for so long overwhelmed me, and tears flowed because of the sadness that even my mother's funeral had been disrupted. Despite this, Daiki listened attentively to everything I had to say. By the time we reached the funeral home, I had managed to calm down, and with Daiki by my side, we completed the funeral without further issues. As for my mother-in-law, she was confronted with divorce by my father-in-law. Despite her tearful pleas, she was not heard and eventually signed the divorce papers. She was also disowned by Wada, Tachibana, and all the relatives present that day. Left with nothing, she had to leave her marital home and kept trying to contact Daiki, but he had set his phone to reject her calls. She was left to live a lonely life without anyone to rely on or watch over her. And as for us,
Hey, how about we visit Dad after Mom's monthly memorial service next month?
oh, that sounds good. Last time Dad mentioned wanting to eat sushi together, shall we go out for it?
Now that you mention it, he did seem eager to have sushi. All right, I'll call him later to ask.
Daiki, you'll be going on another business trip abroad soon. We need to get everything you need ready.
True, it might be a bit longer this time. It'll be lonely, huh?
It's okay. If I feel lonely, I'll go to your dad's place and have him keep me company.
What? Since when did you and Dad become so close?
I've been visiting him quite often lately. While my mother's funeral has ended, the sadness of her absence still hasn't healed. However, I find solace in Daiki's warmth as he supports and encourages me daily. My father-in-law also shows concern for how I'm doing and keeps in touch regularly. Thanks to this, I've gradually been able to find reasons to smile. I am deeply grateful for the kindness of Daiki and my father-in-law, and I've resolved to keep moving forward with their support.
If you enjoyed this video, we'd be thrilled if you subscribed to our channel. Subscribing means you'll receive notifications for new videos, keeping you in the loop with all our latest content. Your support is vital to our growth. Let's enjoy and grow together.